Let's call our meeting to order and rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. It's good to see lots of people in our audience today. First thing we need to do is approve the council minutes from July the 3rd.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and because Barry is on video, I need to take a roll call vote. So Max Smith,
Approved.
Tony Dillon,
Aye.
Gary Saunders,
Aye.
Jeff Kappa,
Aye.
Barry Ritter,
Aye.
Kathy Williams,
Aye.
and Beth Leisure, I'm aye. All in favor, motion is passed. First up, we have a guest with us today, Jason Semler from Baker Tilly, and we have asked him to just give us some information about financial planning over the next few years. So, good morning, Jason.
Good morning. Again, Jason Semler at Baker Tilly, principal there. And thank you for having me this morning, and thank you for giving this opportunity to be here and to answer any questions that you have. But yes, as mentioned, we've been asked to provide a scope of what we call a comprehensive financial plan. We do this for a lot of communities, and it's really just kind of looking back that last 2 or 3 years just to kind of see where you've been as far as a lot of your major operating funds, and then putting together this plan, and I like to consider it as a tool to help project what kind of revenues and what kind of expenses that you may incur over the next 3 to 4 years. Really to help inform you so you can make good decisions. As I know you're in the middle of your budget for 2025, and knowing the circuit breaker losses, different operating expenses increasing some of the decisions that you're thinking about making here, they're just not going to impact your 2025 budget, but it's going to impact your future budgets. So having that long-term outlet we've found to be very beneficial for our clients in helping them make those decisions. So I know we put together a scope for that, and also the local income tax analysis. We were asked to do that as well. I'm happy to answer any questions about those, but I wanted to give you, I'd like to have these back if I could, but I wanted to bring 2 examples so you can kind of actually see. These are 2 different comprehensive financial plans for clients that we've done for counties. One's Henry County, one's Randolph County. And we tailor this to your specific needs. So these are just examples. If there's things that you'd like to see different, we can definitely add them. We look at what funds that you want us to look at. Again, we look at most of the operating funds, property taxes, and local income tax. If there's anything that you want us to add, we can definitely do that. I can't remember, it might be in Henry County and maybe in a different version that we did, but something that we've done for them in the past that a number of clients have asked is, one that's common right now is like pay adjustments. They had us do what would it look like if we did a 3% across the board increase, or what would it look like if we did a 5% increase. We can do those different scenarios because it may look like you could afford it today, but what does it look like in 2027, 2028? So those are those kinds of things where I think this report can be useful for you. Something else that I know the president of Henry County Council has told me many times, and Randolph as well, as he takes that with him to every meeting. That way when departments heads come and ask for additional appropriations, they pull that out and say, okay, if we give them another amount of money, this is going to impact our ending balance by this amount. So again, it kind of helps you make that informed decision on, as different requests come in front of you, how's it going to impact you financially? And hopefully all that information's there in one spot for you to easily to look at.
Sounds good. Does anyone have any questions for Jason this morning?
Yes, in developing the plan that you would present to us, how's your engagement with us during that process?
That's the engagement of time to expense. What I typically like to do, and it'll either be me or Paige Sampson, who's not here today, one of us will be assisting you, but we both do a lot of these. We typically do a draft report where we put together kind of standard assumptions, and then we usually have a meeting, it's usually in person or over the phone, with all the council, sometimes commissioners, or maybe a small group to kind of go over a draft, talk about the assumptions, see if there's any other assumptions that you want us to include that are specific to your needs, and then we'll come back and do a final draft in front of the council, or sometimes a joint council commissioners meeting. But we really rely heavily on the auditor's office because a lot of the information that we need, especially the historical information, we'll get that from the auditor's office or on Gateway if it's available. At this time, depending on where in your budget, we probably include the 2025 budget, either preliminary or approved, depending upon the timing. Did that answer your question?
Yes and no. My experience in doing in another field, but working with groups like you're doing, a plan that's developed in conjunction with the client versus coming in and saying this is what we think is much more acceptable. May not be the best plan, but it's the acceptance of the plan and the implementation that's critical.
And that's why I totally agree, because we want this to be accepted by the council and commissioners, because what I don't want you to do, and would suggest that this is what's going to happen, not hire us to do this, but we don't want you to pay for us to put this report together and then you put it on the shelf and never open it again.
Exactly.
I agree. So, and that's why we have that draft meeting. That way, if there's, for example, we may be looking at your MVH or bridge fund. If you have a capital plan, projects for the next 2 or 3 years, let us know that so we can incorporate that in the plan. So things like that, we definitely want your input into the report.
We have a plan that they keep taking money away from us. Can you help us with that? Okay. Does anybody have any more questions for Jason this morning? I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon about all this, and you have an engagement contract there for us.
Yeah, and there's also the local income tax analysis in there as well. So that'd be kind of a separate presentation that we can do that much faster. I can come and present that and prepare that at any time if that's something that you're interested in as well. And it's appropriate that it was asked because a lot of communities are looking at, because of the financial constraints that they're in, local income tax is really the only real source that you have to generate additional revenue. So a lot of communities are looking at increasing the local income tax. So being familiar with what your options are doesn't necessarily mean you may want to increase it this year, but at least you know what all the different local income taxes are, what they can be used for, and how much flexibility you have in the
And
future.
did you include that in?
Yes,
in
that's
here?
in there.
Okay, all right. Barry, do you have any questions for Jason? Now maybe we can do this. Barry?
You should have said no.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
we're
there
good.
it is.
Oh, there we go.
I just had to find the mute button.
Okay,
I just appreciate Jason being here. Been dealing with his firm for several weeks just for this information for us to consider as we're looking at the 25 budget and the health of the funds in the county in the next few years. So, Jason, I appreciate you being here.
all right, thank you. Thanks, Jason, we'll be talking to you. Oh, do you have a question?
I had one question for Jason. Our TIF is a little bit in disarray, if you hadn't figured that out. And we're waiting to see if DLG, we know we gotta have a spending plan in place, which some people say it's no different than the way it should have been all along. But for us, we're really limited in what we do with our TIF. We basically capture it to the extent we can, because we know we have infrastructure needs that are down the road. Would that be something that could be, without exceptional involvement, and you guys take a look at, see what we got, where our districts are? And I think we have 5 allocation areas at this point, because I have concerns about our TIF management thing.
Yeah, no, and as you know, we help, I think, create probably all of your TIF areas. So yeah, we could
I know you
include
do
those.
visualization, wasn't it?
We could include those in the report if you'd like.
That'll be not my decision, but that's something we can talk about, but I just want.
And as far as the spending plan, I know you're right, that's something that's going to be new this year for the Redevelopment Commission that will need to be presented to the council, and that will have to be done by December 1st.
DLGF hasn't promulgated the template yet, have they?
No, they haven't. So we're kind of working on one internally.
Okay.
Because we're getting, a lot of people are asking, is December 1st going to be here before you know it? And according to the statute, if you read it for specifically what it says if it's not in the spending plan, you can't spend it. So that really kind of ties the hands of the Redevelopment Commission. So we're trying to structure so it's as flexible as possible.
That's going to say the flexibility in how we define our
Yeah.
plan, I think is going to be key.
Yeah. So we're hoping to have that done by August, our internal one. I can send you a copy of that.
That'd be great.
So you can look at it.
Do you need these back?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
We will be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have commissioners' comments.
Ms. Leader,
Pardon?
could I ask the indulgence of council? I'll have to take the responsibility for this because I think we had another action item today that Ms. Schaefer is here, and I think I failed to get that on the agenda. I think it's simply a matter of approving the unit contribution agreement on behalf of the county and the consolidated edit. There should be templates in front of you. I think so.
Right here.
Yeah. If you would indulge us at some point in the meeting, to ask Ms. Schaefer to come forward and she can tell you where she is in the
She's going to
process.
present her budget later, so we can just do it then. Is that okay?
As long as you're still in official session, yes.
We'll be in finance, but
I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, I don't think anyone's going to worry about it. If you do it then,
Okay.
that's fine.
okay. All right. Steve.
Okay, good morning. You have
Morning.
your project sheet in front of you. We haven't seen this for about a month, so there's been quite a few changes since the last time we met. The annex generator, as you've seen when you pulled in this morning, the pad's been poured, the conduit's been laid, and the wiring infrastructure is in. There's a projected delivery date of the generator sometime next week, so I would think that would be installed then about before the end of the month, and that will complete that emergency power system that we've been needing for a number of years. The chamber technology, we're slowly moving forward. There is a little difference this morning. I can see
Yeah, sounds better.
we still need to work on the Zoom process. And at the same time, when we're sharing the screen, so we'll work with IT and work with Wilco Electronics to figure that out. It seemed to me that we might need something different.
We have a lot of people here. Can you hear us talk well today out there?
Yes.
Good. That's good.
And then a couple of small projects, the magistrate's courtroom windows, that has been finally replaced, and the security film has been installed. So that project has been completed, as well as the front foyer of the courthouse where the marble had cracked. That has been completed as well. The Coleman Center roof and the Coleman ceiling and lighting, the commissioners will consider the bid documents today, so we'll be putting that out for bid in the next couple of weeks. And we do have some numbers then as far as what that project will cost. We'll come back to you and present that to you before any bid award. Then the Coleman, or the Expo Hall HVAC, that is, the punch list was finished this past week. There's a few items, need to paint the duct work on the outside and finish some insulation, but that is up operational and just in time for this weekend. Actually, this whole next week, we have a big client coming in, MacDon, which is a large worldwide producer of farm harvesting equipment. They have their training here, and it's a week-long event that they hold in the Expo Hall. So the air conditioning is finished just in time for them to have their tri-state training at that facility. The horse barn roof, the materials for that are to be delivered tomorrow, and then they'll start on that the following week, and so that should be wrapped up by the next time we talk. And then today also the commissioners will be getting their first look at a proposal for the architectural and engineering contract for the landscape and hardscape. And again, once we get more information on that, as that develops, we'll bring that back to you as well. I think you got an email from President of the Commissioners Plaster about the elevator. We had a couple of days that the elevator was down, which creates a lot of havoc in the courthouse. A lot of rescheduling has to take place. So we've got an engineer coming next Wednesday, week from today, to take a first look at this. And again, the commissioners will be looking at a contract today for a feasibility study on just what to do with the elevator. I cannot seem to find anything of when that elevator was installed. I know it's several decades old. Max, you and I are probably the only ones that were here at the time it was installed, so I know it's at least 50 years old. Not that that's our age or anything. So, but we do have a service contract. We have it serviced regularly. It's inspected twice a year. But the main problem is when a part does break, it's obsolete. And to find a part for it is becoming more and more difficult. So once we have more information with that, we'll bring that back to you as well. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Vicki. Good morning, Mr. Plaster.
Good morning. Just to say another word or two about the elevator. It has a history now of breakdowns, and every time there's a problem, it creates a ripple effect of problems for folks in the courthouse. So rather than kicking it down the road again, because it is repaired again now, but we want to take a look at all the options and see what makes sense and what fits our budget. But it's probably past time to take some action here.
So it is operational now?
It is today, yes. It is today. And it was last Thursday, but it wasn't Friday and Monday. So it's something that we need to seriously look at. I have passed out to you an update on the ARPA expenditures. A new part of this form is the items that are highlighted in light green there, and that is to keep track of the projects that are a part of the $2.8 million that are in excess of the lost revenue, $10 million. So those $2.8 million have to be spent on things that meet the original Treasury guidelines and have some additional hoops that need to be gone through. So I want to keep track of those to make sure we're going to be in excess of the 2.8 million. But that 2.8 million has to be spent on federally approved projects. And that green highlight is just to keep track of which projects meet those criteria. So we're making progress. We're in the implementation phase. We'll be announcing in the very near future the recipients of the Main Street revitalization grants. Those have not yet been approved by the commissioners, but we hope to get to that this afternoon. We are working on a process for the housing infrastructure grants that are part of the HELP program. On the back side of that sheet are the non-HELP projects that we all have agreed to and are continuing to work through that list. I asked Mike Sharp to give us an update next week on the projects with that $300,000 of additional money for projects. You remember the chloride tank is part of that. He's going to have the building painted, and the third project that escapes me at the moment. He's got a prioritized list of the projects that he wants to complete with that $300,000. If the prices come in below his expectations, we'll look at going to project number 4 on his list, and if they're higher, we're going to have have to cut out a project. So we're working on that, and we should have a report for you at the next update. So,
Jeff,
questions? Yeah, go ahead.
on
Tom.
line 16, the highway fuel tank replacement,
Correct.
it says estimated June completion. Has it been completed and it just came in below?
It's not completely done.
Okay.
And so we're working through that. It should be done by the end of this month, we hope.
Okay.
And have the final numbers. And again, anything that comes in below the allocated dollar amount, we need to move that money to another project and get it committed by the end of this year. So there's going to be a time this fall when we're going back and forth on, okay, here's $100,000 that we need to commit to another project, or in some cases, and maybe one of those is the communications, the 911 radio project. We're anticipating that it may come in a little above 1.5 million, and we may have to move a little money, additional money into that line item. So we're keeping an eye on that. That's why we have these tracking numbers, but we're going to have to move some money around on relatively short notice. But all of the money is appropriated for ARPA, and so we should be ready to go just with transfers and approval of additional projects.
These two things don't quite match up, the amounts. Is it because the health project hasn't been updated?
It's only updated on a monthly basis.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is as of the end of July.
Okay.
So back to his question on the fuel tanks. Is this number probably still a pretty good number?
The 500,000.
No, the remaining balance of 149,000, is that?
We expect most of that will be spent. And again, I'll have an update next week that we can bring to you in the September meeting. And if I have information on specific questions, I can send that out to you as I get it.
Where are we on the prox cards?
Steve has been talking to them this week. The original plan came in at an estimate significantly higher than money available. What we're going to do is look at reducing the number of locks that are controlled by prox cards, and we need to take that to the security committee before having a final approval of a plan. We're also expecting in that security line item to replace the X-ray equipment. It's still operational, but it's out of warranty, I guess. The service contract is no longer
Will there be an ongoing fee with that every year?
It's already covered in their budget to maintain it. It's just a matter of money to replace the unit. The service contract is already accounted for.
Okay.
Anything else? If not,
I think so.
thank you very much.
Thank you. We just have one other thing this morning. There's council has an appointment to the alcohol board, and we received the resignation of Mary Siebert. And I've only had one person contact me who was interested in replacing her on that board, and that would be Steve Rabe. So I would entertain a motion from council that we appoint Steve Rabe to the alcohol board.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll have to take a roll call vote. Jeff Kappa?
Aye.
Kathy Williams? Aye. Gary Saunders?
Aye.
My vote is aye. Matt?
Aye.
Tony?
Aye.
And Barry?
Aye.
All in favor? Motion passes. Or we will inform them of our appointment. If we don't have anything else from anybody for council, we will.
Was this commissioner?
That's commissioners. You didn't talk to us about that insurance.
Jeff,
thing,
it
I'm
was-
sorry.
That's on the-
It's on
I
finance.
thought it was on finance.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a lot of visitors that we need to get to today, so we will adjourn our council meeting with a vote.
Just a second.
Oh, what do you have?
Hagerstown has 5 candidates running for 3 seats on the town council.
On the town.
Hagerstown Town Council. So it has to be a convention. That will be August the 13th at 6:30. It is a political convention, but there's an article to be out in the paper this week, the Western Wayne News. It's also been posted, so anybody that's got any questions about it can give me a call.
Who is allowed to vote at that convention?
Republican convention, it's Republicans all over the ones allowed to vote.
Who are in the city limits
They live in the
of
city of
Hagerstown?
Hagerstown.
Okay, just making that clear for people.
Let's try to stay away from politics.
I know.
Everybody is political.
It is what it is. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second. I'll have to take a roll call vote once again. Jeff?
Aye.
Kathy? Aye. Matt? I can't get your name right today. Gary?
Aye.
My vote's aye.
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 Barry?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned.